Before you turn off the video, I have to tell you, just last month I was trying to find, goodness, I don't even remember what it was. And I opened my linen closet, an avalanche of towels, I hate old sheets, and who knows what fell out. I just sat right there on the hallway floor and felt so defeated, wondering why my house always felt so full, even after I'd cleaned. I realized I wasn't cleaning, I was just shuffling. If that sounds even a little familiar, stick with me through this video because we're going to talk about the real mistakes we all make. And the last tip, the life change audit, is the one that finally made it all click for me. Let's be honest, the biggest mistake is starting without a real reason. Decluttering just sounds like a horrible chore, doesn't it? If this is the kind of chat you've been looking for, you're in the right place. We talk about this kind of thing all the time, so I hope you'll consider subscribing and joining our little community. It's always so nice to know who I'm chatting with. Where are you watching from? Drop a quick hello in the comments. So, back to this reason. This is the most important step. Your why isn't just to have a clean house. That's too vague, and it won't motivate you when you're tired. Your why is, so I can open that linen closet without bracing for impact. Or maybe it's, so I can find my favorite recipe without digging through a mountain of paper. Or so I can invite my friend over for coffee without that 30-minute panic clean first. We've all been there. Here's what I want you to do. Get a sticky note right now. Write down your reason. I want to relax in my living room without looking at piles. Put that note right on the bathroom mirror or the refrigerator. When you feel like quitting, you look at that note. Trust me, this is the fuel you'll need because it's not about a perfect home. It's about a calmer mind. Part 1. Breaking Paralysis, the Getting Started Mistakes. Okay, so you have your sticky note. You're motivated, but now you're standing in the doorway of a room and you just feel paralyzed. It's just too much. This is where most of us make the next mistake. We try to keep the whole plan in our heads. It's overwhelming. Before you do anything else, grab a piece of paper and a pen. I call this the brain dump. Just walk through your house and write down every little spot that bugs you. The junk drawer, the pantry shelf, the pile of mail, the car glove box. The point of this list isn't to scare you, it's the opposite. It's to get all those I should thoughts out of your head and onto paper. Now your brain is clear. You don't have to remember it all. You just look at the list and pick one, the smallest, easiest one. Maybe it's just sort the tea bags. That's it. You've broken the paralysis. Now here's a big one, especially if you live with other people. The mistake is trying to declutter their stuff first. Oh goodness, does that lead to frustration? You're staring at your partner's pile of magazines or your grown kids' old sports trophies, and you just get resentful. You can't control their things, and it just makes you want to give up on your own. The fix is to start with a space that is 100% yours. Your nightstand, your side of the closet, your purse, your craft bag. It gives you this wonderful, immediate win. There's no conflict, no negotiation. You just do it, and it feels good. You can see the progress right away. And you know what's funny? When you get your little corner of the world calm and tidy, it's amazing how often other people in the house start tidying their own spaces, all without you saying a single word. It's like magic. But what if you don't even have time for one zone? What if you only have 10 minutes? This next fix tackles the all or nothing mistake. We wait for a free weekend, a day off. A time when the house is empty. Let's be honest, that day never comes, does it? So the clutter just sits there winning and we feel worse and worse. Stop waiting. Set a timer on your phone for 10 minutes, just 10, and pick one of those micro tasks from your brain dump list. Maybe you're just going to clear expired food from one shelf in the pantry while you wait for the kettle to boil. Or you'll sort the glove box while sitting in the car waiting for an appointment. The goal here isn't to finish the whole kitchen. It's just to start. It's to build that momentum. It proves to your brain that progress is possible, even in tiny little bits. 10 minutes a day is over an hour a week. That's real progress. Part 2, the in-progress mistakes, how to actually declutter. Okay, so you've started. You've got your 10-minute timer, you're in your zone, you pick up an item. Now what? This right here. This is the moment that determines if you are actually decluttering or if you're just shuffling. The biggest mistake is moving a pile from the dining room table to a doom basket you shove in the closet. You know the one. Maybe it's a doom chair in the bedroom, covered in clothes. We think we've cleaned, but we've just hidden the problem for later. The fix is the 3-bin rule. Get 3 boxes or bags. You can just grab shopping bags. Label them. Keep, donate, toss. Every single item you touch must go into one of those 3. No exceptions. No putting it back down on the counter. Now, I'll be generous. You are allowed 1. Just 1. Decide later box. This is for the truly tricky things like an old photo or a gift you feel guilty about. But here's the catch. You have to put a date on that box. Write it on there. Decide by Sunday. If you have more than one decide later box, you're not decluttering. You're just organizing your procrastination. We're trying to get rid of the decisions, not make more of them. Oh, this next one is such a trap. And it's so tempting. The mistake is buying all those beautiful matching storage bins before you finish decluttering. We've all done it. You go to the store, you see the perfect baskets, and you get that little high. You feel so organized. But what happens? You get home, and you subconsciously feel like you have to fill those bins. So you end up keeping junk just to fill the nice new box you bought for it. It's backwards. Declutter, chut first. See what's actually left. Then you go buy a container that perfectly fits the items you truly want to keep. It saves you so much money and so much clutter. If that one little tip was helpful, do give this video a quick like so I know you found it useful. Now let's talk about a fast habit. Here's a quick one that saves more time than all the others combined. The mistake is putting an item you don't really love back in the closet. You try on that sweater, you think, hey, it's a little snug, or this color just isn't right, and you hang it back up. That's a decision you've just postponed. You're going to have to make that same decision again in 6 months. The fix is the outbox system. Get a permanent donation bag or box and keep it somewhere easy, like the bottom of your closet or in the laundry room. The second you try on that shirt and realize you just don't feel good in it, put it directly in the box. Don't hang it back up. Don't think about it. The decision is made. When the box is full, it goes straight into the trunk of your car. This one habit stops the just-in-case graveyard from taking over your whole closet. But what about the things you can't just put in a donation box? The sentimental things? This is the hardest part. The mistake is thinking we have to keep everything to honor the memory. We end up with dozens of storage tubs in the attic or the basement, filled with our children's drawings, old cards, or things we inherited that we don't even like. It becomes a burden. Let's be gentle with ourselves here. The memory is in you. It's not in the item. You don't need 50 drawings from preschool to remember that time. The fix is to curate. Pick 1 or 2 absolute favorites. Frame 1. Put the others in a single small memory box. For the rest, take a high-quality photo of them on your phone. You can make a digital album. A small curated box you can actually look through is so much more meaningful than 20 heavy tubs in the attic. You're not losing the memory, you're losing the burden. Part 3. Making it stick, the maintenance mistakes. You've done it. The bins are sorted. The hard decisions are made. You should be done, right? Wrong. This is the final hurdle, and it's where most people fail and all that hard work comes undone in a month. The first mistake here is thinking that decluttering ends when the bag is full. No, ma'am. It ends when the bag is out of your house. How many of us have bags and boxes of donations sitting by the back door for weeks? Or worse, riding around in the trunk of the car for months? It just becomes more clutter in a different spot. Before you even start sorting, you need an exit strategy. Where is this stuff actually going? Look up the address and the open hours for the thrift store. Find out where the e-waste recycler is for those old cords. See if the animal shelter needs those old towels. Put it in your calendar. Saturday 10 a.m. drop-off bags. This removes that last barrier so you actually finish the job. Okay, the big stuff is gone. What about the daily clutter? The mistake is ignoring the visual noise. These are all the little homeless items. The pens, the receipts, the hair ties, the mail that just live on the kitchen counter. They don't have a home. This little stuff makes our brains feel just as cluttered as the counter does. Here are 2 fixes that work together. First, get one small, attractive basket. Put it on that counter or the entryway table. All day, when you find those little homeless items, drop them in the basket. It takes 2 seconds. Now the counter is clear. Then you create a 5-minute closing shift for your home. Before you go to bed, just like they do at a restaurant, you close the kitchen. You wipe the counters, you put the 1 or 2 dishes in the dishwasher, and you take 60 seconds to empty that reset basket. Put the pen in the drawer, the hair tie in the bathroom, the receipt in the file. This isn't about panic cleaning for guests. This is about caring for yourself. You get to wake up to a calm space. It's a gift you give your future self, and it's the best habit I've ever started. Now here's a modern mistake we all make. We forget that our phones and computers are just as cluttered as our closets, and that digital clutter creates just as much mental fog. All those unread emails, the 5,000 photos on your camera roll, half of them blurry, the old screenshots of recipes. It's too much. The fix is a weekly digital sweep. Piggyback this habit onto something you already do. Maybe every Sunday night while you're watching TV, you set a 15-minute timer. Delete 100 old photos. Unsubscribe from 5 junk email lists. Clear your downloads folder. It's like airing out your brain, and it feels just as good as clearing a counter. Okay, we've come to the last one, and as I promised, this is the one that changes everything and stops the clutter from ever coming back. The biggest, most chronic mistake is blaming yourself when a space keeps getting messy. You think, I'm just not an organized person. That's not true. The truth is, the system is broken, not you. The system you had when your kids were toddlers cannot work when they're teenagers. The way you organized your kitchen when you were working full-time won't make sense after you've retired. Life changes. Our homes need to change with us. The fix is a life change audit. After any big change, a new job, a new hobby, a health change, a child moving out, or even just a new season, you have to audit your space. Stand in the room and ask, what is my life like today? And how can this room serve me today? Maybe you need to turn that unused guest room into a craft space so your things aren't piled in the living room. Maybe that home office needs to be a cozy reading nook because you're reading more. Stop trying to fit your current wonderful life into an old, outdated box. This idea was such a breakthrough for me. Is this a new way of thinking for you, or have you already been doing this? End summary, farewell, goodness. That was a lot to chat about, wasn't it? But you made it to the end. You see, the goal in all of this isn't to have a perfect magazine-ready house. Let's be real, we live here. The goal is a calmer mind. It's about getting rid of the guilt and the stress that the clutter causes. It's about fixing the system so your home can be a place to relax, not another item on your to-do list. We covered a dozen mistakes today. I would truly love to know which one really hit home for you. Was it the doom basket or the containers come last? Or maybe it was that life change audit. Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. It means the world. And if this video helped, I think you'll really love the next one. We're going to talk about tiny 1-minute habits that reduce that visual clutter instantly. Until then, take good care of yourself. Bye-bye.